Now, it's no secret that I love The Sims 2 more than anything. I'll build, I'll make Sims, I'll do gameplay, I'll make machinimas, I'll do literally anything in this game because it's my bread and butter. Last year, I made a legacy challenge that's 10 gens. Each generation's all about different things, different aspects about The Sims 2 that I personally never experienced, and I wanted to do more of it, especially through gameplay. So I have one on Twitch and then one on YouTube. YouTube's Gen 1, and then Twitch is Gen 5. And today, I actually want to build a nice little cottage for Gen 5, who is actually a warlock in The Sims 2. Now, personally, I didn't play a lot of the supernaturals in The Sims 2 because the way I played back in the day was unpredictable, chaotic, nothing made any sense. I would have cheating love affairs, set people on fire, delete certain Sims that I didn't like, and cause so much chaos that I lacked structure in my own general storytelling gameplay that I was hoping for. And so as I got older and played more of The Sims 2 and all the other little Sims games, I was like, let me do some structured gameplay. Let me have some rules added to what I want to do each and every day. What can I do? What can't I do? And so the Durban Legacy Challenge was born last year, so that way I can have a structured type gameplay system, but also at the same time learn some of the game mechanics that I probably have not experienced. So with supernatural, specifically like witches, vampires, werewolves, zombies, I didn't really play with because I did not know how they actually worked. I found out that you can become a witch or a warlock if you befriend either the evil witch or the good witch in The Sims 2, but they have to spawn on like a community lot at certain times. Werewolves, I know you have to be bit by the alpha wolf, and then a zombie, I think, has to be brought back from the dead, and then a vampire, you get bit by a vampire. However, the vampires in The Sims 2, they just burn quite a bit, and I just kind of forget that they exist because I don't go downtown that often. However, with this particular legacy challenge, I want to experience all of it. So we're gonna have a plant sim gen, we're gonna have a vampire generation, a werewolf, a warlock generation, which is Gen 5 right now. But I do want to experience like other types of things that I probably haven't learned, like some of the careers, some of the career like reward items that we get, because the Sims 2 is like so uniquely like done in a particular way that you don't really know until you like play it yourself, and they feel more alive. I don't know how to explain it, but the Sims 2 Sims feel more self-aware about their surroundings than any other Sims game that I've ever played. And so this game is like my bread and butter. I've made machinimas way back in the day. I've done so much building, so many character customizations. I've built my own worlds, and it's just like, oh, I love this game more than anything. It's just so good. But let me know in the comments below, what are some things that you have done in The Sims 2 that you would do again or haven't done in a while again? But anyway, with Generation 5, to give you context, it's all about magic. And I named this particular generation Wicked for Good because as a person who loves Wicked, I love the musical, I loved the movie, I loved both movies, both soundtracks. I put them on repeat 10,000 kajillion times. Like you have no idea. I love Glinda, I love Alphaba, I love the Emerald City. I love everything about it. I love the Wizard of Oz. I love the Wiz. I love everything about like this, that, everything is just so great. Like there's literally no notes, but I just want more of it, you know? Just putting it out there. But the whole backstory for this generation is that they say no one mourns the wicked, but who says you can't be good? You always felt different in your family, that something has changed within you, and you're through with following the rules of society on how you're supposed to be. So you settle on your own path to find a real family that isn't afraid of magic, because everything is not what it seems. So I kind of put in a little bit of Wizards of Waverly Place, a little bit of Wicked, you know, I love both of that. And I love Wizards of Waverly Place and Wizards Beyond Waverly Place. I'm a Disney like kid through and through. So like anything Disney, I'm all for it. I'll find a way to kind of weave it into my daily routine some way, somehow. The lyrics, the movies, whatever it is, I'll do it. But that is kind of like the general backstory for this generation. Very simple, very mundane. I wanted to make this legacy challenge mainly for me, but I know that you all struggle with like trying to find structure in The Sims, whether it's Sims 2, 3, 4, whatever. And I put these like basic rules for myself to like follow so that way I can understand what I wanted to do. And so I chose to do the paranormal career for this particular generation because paranormal, magic, it kind of made sense. And plus, to the degree that you get or supposedly are going to get in university kind of ties into that. Your aspiration is family because you want to find a family that isn't afraid of magic. Your goal, your big goal is to befriend the good witch. The rules do state you have to drop out of university your sophomore year. So you have like kind of like two semesters of, university life. Make some friends, join a frat or a sorority, whatever you want to do in those two like periods of your Sims life. You have to have a baby or get pregnant by a university frat boy, man, child, whoever it might be, or a sorority, I don't know, whichever you would prefer. Learn all the spells and potions because I did not know there were that many until I looked it up myself. I'm like, that's something I want to learn how to do because there's certain ways to extinguish flames, remove puddles. You can like light up the world with like nice sunshine, rain. You can spawn a familiar. Like there's so many spells that I did not know existed in The Sims 2, especially the potions of what they can actually offer. I know there's one for like vampirism, one for like, I think plant sims, love, like there's different types that you normally can get from the matchmaker who appears on your lot if you call them. And then the other one is to get a feline familiar, which is a cat, who is a familiar, who is like your magical being. And what I've learned is that you have to actually learn the spell to conjure up a feline familiar that will be a part of your household, but you can also have them go away so they come back and forth whenever you want them to appear. They're not very destructive or anything. I did have one instance where my feline familiar tried to scratch up my couch. And I'm like, I know for sure, well, honey boo boo child, you ain't tearing up my couch. Get a job and pay that couch for yourself. Because something I love about The Sims 2, these pets can get jobs, earn their keep in the household. Because I'm like, you tear up my couch, you're gonna buy a new one. In The Sims 2, I always played so weirdly, and I'm like, get yourself a job, do something. Do something other than just sit there and lay. But that is kind of like the gist. And then the whole end goal is to bring back an old lover, because what's going to have to happen is that you have to unalive one of your past lovers from university life or throughout your life in general, but you have to bring them back as an old lover. So when you're an elder, you bring back your elder lover to life and you live happily ever after. They could be a zombie, they could be human. Whatever you want to do, may the odds forever be in your favor. Now, I personally found playing through this generation so far on Twitch has been particularly very interesting because I have a hard time figuring out how to play with supernaturals because I've always played with like human sims and I never really tapped into the whole like spellcasters, wizards, warlock, vampires, where I never really did that in The Sims 2 because I found it kind of difficult. And I also just found it like meh until I locked into my Twilight phase. And that's where I was like, oh yeah, I see the appeal in vampires and werewolves. But my first vampire movie was Van Helsing. And then I watched Underworld, all the Underworld movies. Like I love Kate. I love that. I love that movie franchise. I love Hugh Jackman for Van Helsing. And honestly, I love the vibes of the supernatural. So I didn't lock in until like later in my life, until I kind of fully was understanding like what was I actually watching. So with one of the generations, particularly Generation 9 is going to be a vampire. So I'm looking forward to that. We might live downtown, but I'm trying to decide where exactly downtown because that's when vampires kind of became a thing in The Sims 2. With The Sims 2 Nightlife, we got vampires. And then eventually Gen 10 is a plant sim, but there's no generation for a werewolf. So I'm thinking probably Gen 11 or Gen 12, I could be a werewolf because I want to try and become a zombie if possible in one of the generations where the zombie has to kind of like bring themselves back to life in a human society type of way. I have to do more research on like what can you actually do as a zombie in The Sims 2, because I did a save file neighborhood review and there was one particular household where a child has gone missing who was a teenager, and we later on found them and they were a zombie. So it was very interesting how that was like becoming a thing. So I want to try that out at some point. If you have any like ideas or suggestions of what I could do with this particular generation once we kind of make more, because I anticipate that I want to make at least maybe 5 more generations, because the original goal was to do all the careers in The Sims 2, but there's like 10,000 careers in this game. So I'm like, let me figure this out as I kind of play. So maybe there'll be 5 extra generations and then we move on to something different, that I'll make another legacy challenge or some type of story driven something. I don't know. But I'm always wanting to try something new and tap into my creative side, whether it's like doing Sims or Minecraft or whatever it might be. But I just love to create, because right now at this current time, I'm making a forever world save neighborhood in The Sims 2 where I'm building everything from scratch. It'll be my second one. I already have Rosewood that I'm currently working on, as you all know, but there's another one that I'm working on that I haven't shared like any photos or anything, but the concept is there. I'm still like tweaking the map little by little because it is at this point almost done, and I want to restructure like the roads and the general layout of how it looks. I might have more water and less land per se, because I feel like the more land I have, the more I have to decorate, and that's just a lot of work. So I don't want to do that. But I do want to have a chance of doing like beach lots at some point. And I think in my several decades of playing The Sims 2, I've learned a lot of like building and how to like generalize like structure things for like Sims, or build structures on the inside and outside, and how to make the neighborhood look very alive and decorative, especially like with the neighborhood decor items that you usually get in the game, because it's so uniquely done in a particular way that you are literally creating a world yourself. You have like the templates, of course, that the game gives you, but it's like, ooh, it's like your brain cells are like going 10,000 miles a minute and like going fully like locked in to your like neighborhood to make it whatever you want. And the Sims 2 community is like so creative in so many different ways. You have no idea. If you were in that era of like the Sims 2 community, like the Sims 2 website, Sims 2 YouTube, like you just know. You know. Sims 2 Tumblr, Mod the Sims, like hello? Let's be honest here. Things were good back then. Simpler times, less chaotic. But lo and behold, I will say this house is just a jumbled mess, because it is for a single sim who is a spellcaster, and they have to have at least one child. At least I want to have one child, or maybe two if I can fit it, because if I have a kid in here, I'm gonna have to move them from this whole entire lot to a different lot, or make it bigger somehow, or get rid of some type of, I don't know, I might get rid of the greenhouse. I might even add an extra floor, an attic. I don't know. But we're kind of going to play it out as we go, because this gen is almost done on Twitch, because since I stream for like 3 hours a day, there's a lot going on. So I'm spacing it out as much as I possibly can. So that way I'm like not rushing this gen. But either way, I'm going to go into the game so I can show you all the build in real time, because I'm really happy on how it turned out, because I don't know, Sims 2 is just like my favorite game to build in as of lately. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and go into the game. Okay, now that we're in the game, this is what the house looks like. It's for Generation 5 who wants to become the most magical warlock there ever was. And personally, I'm really happy on how it turned out, because I didn't want to make it too big or too small, but there was a lot of room to grow. So since Gen 5 is a single sim as of right now, soon to eventually, get married and have a kid or two, I wanted to make sure there was a place for them to like live and breathe and do their things. And so what I'm thinking is moving the cauldron that we eventually will get down the line and move it outside over here, and then probably our spell book over here, because the only way to learn our potions and spells is to have a cauldron and a magical book, but we don't get that until we actually become friends with the good witch or the evil witch, whichever we prefer. But for Gen 5, we gotta be friends with the good witch, at least as much as we possibly can. But For my idea for Gen 6, just thinking into the future, is that since we have a greenhouse here, I was thinking of turning this into a garage later down the line, because Gen 6 is all about music and fortune aspiration. And so imagine this as a pretend garage band. We have a way to make bands in The Sims 2, but not an actual full-fledged system, if that makes sense, but we can replicate it as much as possible. Plus, I kind of want to do a little music video in The Sims 2 just for Gen 6. But for now, we have a greenhouse since we all love magic. So we have our orange tree, apple tree, and lemon tree, a few gardening plots over here, and then our flower workstation, and then our compost bin, and then some ladybug loft. I've never really done a floral like business in The Sims 2, but I want to do it eventually down the line, specifically for my custom neighborhood, Rosewood, because I have an idea, but it's not fully fledged out just yet. But I wanted to make sure that we at least had a greenhouse on the side of our house in case we want to do gardening and grow our own produce later down the line. But as we move over to the main part of the house, we have a 1-bedroom, 2.5, or 1-bedroom and 1.5 bathroom house here in the wonderful world of Belladonna Cove, where we live. So this is the main living space. I wanted to make it as cluttered and like just filled in as much as possible. So I added in like a little stereo, of course, our TV station. This couch right here is giving, you know, garage sale couch. It is technically called bootlegged comfort, so it makes total sense. Bootleg, garage sale, I mean, they're one and the same. So we have a little couch here, our bookcases so we can do all of our reading and writing if we want to. We have a small little dining room area that I think I might eventually remove because we don't got a lot of space in here. Here's our lovely little kitchen, and I feel like all of my kitchens that I do in The Sims 2 end up being the same because I love this wallpaper tile. I like the white tile at the bottom and like the green backsplash. It's like so good. So it just works very well for all of my suburban type homes or just any home that has a kitchen. But it's all green and just looks lovely. We have a little dishwasher, a little microwave, our little stove, and of course our juicer that we tend to use every once in a blue moon. And then we have our half bath down here, our mini office over here where we can do all of our writing or whatever we might need to do, write some reports and emails, look at our bank account if we need to. We can do it in here. And then I also included a pottery wheel and then an easel and then like a little treadmill so we can like work out, get our creative side more, because I'm thinking Gen 6 will eventually have to tap into the creative side a little bit more, especially for Gen 5's career. We have to tap into some of the skill sets at some point. So if we do it early enough, we'll be ahead of the game for Gen 6. So easel and pottery wheel down here. And then I added in a ballet bar upstairs on the second floor. I might eventually remove it and then move it to like the outside when I eventually turn the greenhouse into a garage at some point. But for now, it's on the inside on the second floor. We have a little stereo for some music, for some dancing. I added another easel just to have more variety, and then some bookcases and a little violin. Essentially, this upstairs is basically just for Generation 6 to thrive creatively when they want to. I just don't know which direction I want to have them go into just yet. Either guitar, the microphone, the violin. I don't know. It might be all of them because eventually when we do have a good creativity skill and our hobby enthusiasm in like music and dance is higher, we can eventually go to the secret hobby lot and do more there. But I want to like create my own hobby lot at some point, specifically for Gen 6, but I know it's going to take some time, but we have time. We've got time. Don't worry. Over here is Gen 5's bedroom. Very small, very quaint, very simple. And then we have our main bathroom that everyone shares. We have a little shower tub combo, a little toilet, and then of course our lovely little sink and some candles. Oh, and this medicine cabinet, my favorite thing. It acts as a mirror, but we can also get acne cream. We can also get our toothpaste out of there. Like it's a functioning medicine cabinet, and it's so cool, especially for teenagers because they have a little bit more to them because they can get acne or like zits and whatnot, and you can get zit cream out of it. So it's just delightful, if I do say so myself. Either way, I'm going to end it here off for today's video. I do hope you all really enjoyed it. Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments as always, but go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all next time in the next video. Bye!